without further ado, coming to our speaker for today who will be conducting this session, Mr. Eric Wesch. He's an educator at the Daegu Catholic University, a teacher with more than 15 years of experience in teaching. He has a successful YouTube channel that helps English teachers with tips, ideas, and resources called Educator. Well, that's an interesting story behind it, which Mr. Eric just told me before the beginning of webinar. So if you look carefully at the name of the YouTube channel, it is education spelled backwards. So that would be easy for you guys to remember and search for his channel, which is Educator. He has been sharing helpful advice on teaching online, one of the major challenges which our education is facing today. He also hopes to help other educators to maximize their online teaching to the benefit of themselves and their students. We are so excited and elated to have you here with us, Eric.
Hi.
For joining us.
Hi, can everyone hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Eric. First of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone for being here. And it's such a pleasure for me too. And I'm so happy to be here. Thank you to Ability for having me to talk about one of the most important topics in education. And that's how we can help our learners, especially our special needs learners, online. Now, everyone, before we start, I just want to say hello. Before we start, we are using Zoom. And when we teach with Zoom, we have to know all the useful tools and all the things that are available to us to use Zoom to 100% of its capability. So let's play a quick game. I want to go through some of the tools that we have. Now, if we look at some of the tools, we get something like we've got different views that we can use. Now, when you teach students online, especially special needs students, there are so many ways that you need to engage them. And one such way is by using different backgrounds. Like you can use a background like this, something pretty. If you have students that get overwhelmed very quickly, you could do something like a blurred background. It's very easy when you use the virtual backgrounds. Another fun thing to use is something called video filters. Now, these are to make class fun. I mean, remember, these kids are away from their friends. They're stuck at home. We need to find a way to get them excited about class. And sometimes we can use some of these fun video filters. We can say, okay, everyone, today is Rainbow Day. Or we can say, okay, well, what am I saying with my mask on? These are just fun ideas where we can use Zoom to do it. Another great feature that we have to use is the chat feature. So first of all, let me ask you a question. What's your favorite fruit? Put it in the chat. The thing is, when you teach online, there are so many ways that we can reach our students. Obviously, they can see us, they can hear us, but we've got to get them to engage with us beyond that. And a fun way is to put in, I see mango here, lots of bananas and oranges, avocados. Yes, it's a fantastic way to get our students to react, and it doesn't overwhelm them just by typing something in. Another great way is to ask them for reactions. Now, right now, we only have the raise hand function. If I can ask, okay, everyone who prefers day versus night, and then I can see my students raise their hand. I can also ask them different questions like which one is wrong or right, and they can give me a thumbs up emoji or a heart or something like that. Now, before I start with this, I want to show something else, and this is when you go to share. I'm going to share my PPT with you, and this is the normal way that you can share the PPT. You can also use things like annotate, where you can write on the board. So for example, I can put some hearts in there. I can start writing or circle things that are important for my students, and they can also write on a whiteboard. Or if I go to share screen, I can ask my students, okay, everyone, quickly write your name in this box for me. And the students can quickly write their names in here. These are all just simple ways that we can use the Zoom platform to engage our students. Now, a final thing I want to show you is how I'm going to share. And if you go to share screen advanced and you click on PowerPoint as a virtual background. You pick your PPT, it loads up, and now you are in here with your students so that they can see you while you teach. And how useful is that? Okay, everyone, that's just the start. My name is Eric, and I am a teacher. I teach online just like many of you. 2 years ago, we've all been, a year ago, 2 years ago, we were all forced to move online. And this is very difficult, especially for students with special needs. And we all know that special needs is one of the most underserved communities out there. And that is why I was so happy when Ability invited me to come and speak and just share some of the ideas that I have. Now, I am not a special needs teacher. I teach English as a second language. However, I have some ideas that I want to share, and I went through it with some of the other teachers that I know that are special needs teachers. I want to say thank you to Dudu and also Christina for helping me with this. And let's just jump into it. Everyone, if you're excited, just say, yes, I'm excited in the chat. And I hope to share some good ideas with you. If I rush a little bit, please just tell me, Eric, slow down. You're going too fast. Now, today, what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to do a quick intro. I'm going to share my experience, the mindset we should have, a class setup, pre-class message, the structure. I'm going to talk about how can you connect with your students during class. I'm going to share some TPR. Let me just take myself out of the way here. Some total physical response activities that you can use, some fun activities, a conclusion, and then at the end, we will take some questions. Now, one of the mistakes I'm already making is I am looking at the PPT. I'm looking at the other people on here. When you work with special needs students, you want to try and focus a bit on speaking to the camera. That way, it feels like you are making a personal connection with your students. And that is so important, especially with student needs, where they need more care, they need that emotional connection. So if it's possible, just remind yourself, look into the camera sometimes when you speak. I know it feels weird. We're used to focusing on the screen, but it's so important to try and create that connection with our students. Okay, now let's get started with the content. Online teaching. We were pushed to move online because of a certain pandemic. And now suddenly teachers have had to learn new skills, new technologies, and new ways, and find new ways to reach their students. And I feel like special needs, this is every student is actually a special needs student, but there are students out there that need more help. They need more assistance and guidance and love in this world. So some of the difficulties, what are some difficulties that you have with your special needs? Please put it in can everyone see? The slide is not clear. Can everyone see? So I see Khadija says that it's not clear.
It is very clear, Khadija.
Okay. Is it good? Okay.
Yeah.
Can I continue?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Okay. So everyone, quickly in the chat, what are some issues, some difficulties that you face in your class? Now, I've taught students with learning disabilities. I've taught students with some physical impairments where they have difficulty listening. I've had students with ADHD, students with autism spectrum disorder where they are a bit slower and they need a bit more help. What are some things? Attention, I see some people are saying attention, distraction, short attention span. This is something I'm going to talk to you about because for myself too, I can feel that I get distracted very quickly, and this is something we can work on. Now, what's very important is that students with that get distracted quickly or have problems with focus, they need consistency in their lessons. And whereas students with ASD, they need more structure. So it's up to us as teachers to make sure that we should have some routines in our classroom that the students can follow. One thing I want to quickly mention is that in your classes, you need to have structure. And you need to create smaller parts in your classes. So if I have a class of 40 minutes, I'm going to break that down into separate compartments that the students understand, because they can only focus for so long. But if they know that, okay, so we've got a 10-minute start, then we're going to do a different activity and a different activity and a final activity, they understand how it works, and it gives them shorter bursts to work in. So that's very good. Network issues also, I see there. Okay, now some of the, we're going to talk in this about some methods, some resources, which platform to use. Personally, I use Zoom, so I'm going to talk about that. Video on or video off. For education, there is not a one-size-fits-all approach. All our students are unique and they have different needs. There is, so with my opinion is, if I have a large class, it is very difficult for the students to pay attention with too many videos open. So if I have more than 10 students, I actually ask my students to turn off their video. However, if I was in a class with younger students and I wanted to do more physical activities, or I wanted to see them, then I would ask them to put video on. It depends what you need in your class. Now, many teachers just say, oh, I need video on. But I want you to think, what do my students need? How should I approach this? And in that case, make the decision, because Zoom actually agrees. There are some new Zoom functions called focus, where a student can only see the teacher when they're teaching. And that is so useful, because you as the teacher, you can also get overwhelmed with too much going on. And just imagine your students, they see their friends doing other things, whereas, so you want to create something like that. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay. This is something I want to do. How do we ensure the presence of students with special needs if their video is off? Lotta, I'm going to quickly talk about that. Let me answer that. It is up to you to create structures in your class to assist your special needs students. They need to know exactly what is expected of them. In my classes, I consistently question my students, check in on them, make sure that they are okay. If I hear that they are gone, I'm going to ask them what's going on. I'm going to send them a message, but the students know that I might ask them a question at any time. It is up to you to train your students for success. And, this helps the students too. They don't need to look at all their friends. They can just make notes. But like I said before, it depends on your situation. Now, what mindset should you have as a teacher? Now, this is so important. These students come to your classroom. You don't know what's going on in their lives. They could have a very difficult situation at home with their parents or their families, They could have problems with their friends. And when they come to your classroom, they need to learn. It's up to you to be a positive influence in their lives. It's up to you to smile and engage them. You should have a growth mindset about teaching online. What new activities can I learn? How can I connect to my students? And these new skills that you are learning online, you will be able to transfer it to the in-class setting. So your mindset is extremely important. The biggest problem I've noticed with other teachers is that they are so resistant to trying new things. Now imagine you are trying to teach your students new things. And if you come with this mindset of, oh, I hate this, I don't want to be here, that's going to reflect onto your students. Now, I want you to imagine the scenario. You don't know what's going on in your students' lives. Maybe, everything looks perfect on the outside, but, perhaps they don't have food in the fridge, or mommy's going through a problem. And just imagine that little boy or girl sitting in front of you, and you are engaging them. They're growing. You're helping them in ways that no other teacher is helping them. And that mom hears her son or her daughter laughing. That is what we mean to our students out there. So once again, have that positive mindset, enjoy this. And that's why I want to say thank you to all of you. Everyone, give me a thumbs up, hands up if you are grateful to be here, because I am so happy that you're here with me. And thank you for putting in the time to coming here and trying out what you can do. I'm so happy. And also, it will strengthen your resume. You will become better at what you're doing. I'm going to rush a little bit because there's so much I want to talk about. Let's quickly go through the class setup. Now, very important, camera and audio. That your audio, you don't need a big mic like this. You just need a mic that's close to your mouth to speak. Camera is important. You don't need a fancy camera, but they should be able to see your expressions, especially for for special needs students, where they take input on how you react to them. The sound should be okay. Lighting, try to get lighting to face you. I see so many teachers with lighting from the top, and that doesn't look too good. You just have a light trying to come from the front if it's possible. Now, background. This depends on your situation. I have interviewed countless teachers where they have a colorful background. They've got a map. They've got interesting things around them. Maybe you can't see them, but maybe they've got some props that the students can look at and see. The students are more engaged in the classes. Think of your own classroom. We want to create that classroom atmosphere. When the student comes and does online, they should feel like, wow, I'm not at home just doing another class. They should feel part of a community that is trying to help them. I was talking about props that you can use. Something good for ADHD students is perhaps if they're very fidgety, ask them to go and grab a ball, something small to squish that they can focus on while they're listening to you. That could keep them busy. And now I want to share something very important. Ask them to have a pen and paper. Why? Well, there was a Harvard review that found that the students are regressing because they're not practicing their handwriting. What I like to, so when you're with your students, you can ask them, guys, quickly write down, what is your favorite color, and show me. Or students that might not be able, that might be dysgraphia, I'm saying it wrong, but they've got trouble writing the words. You can ask them to draw pictures and show you their pictures. And this has the added benefit of the students being able to share something about themselves, something real. When dysgraphia, thank you so much everyone for your help. I really appreciate it. What I like to do in my classes, I ask my students, okay, take out your pen and paper, write the date on your paper. When is the last time they did that? When they are in class, they do that. And that also gives a way to start the class. I also like to use some sounds. At the end of class, you can ring a bell, and this will show the students, oh, this is the start of class, this is the end of class. It gives it more meaning. Okay, everyone, do you like the idea of paper and pencil? What are some props that you use in your class? Now, before I said that students need to be engaged by the background. This might not be true for students that easily get distracted. In that case, you can just use a clear background that they can see. It's all up to you. Okay, let's continue. Now, before class. Teaching is all about teaching. What is it? Teaching is all about preparation. What a preparation is all about success. So some quote like that. But basically, you want to prepare for success with your students, and you do this before class. Many of you have mentioned that you have problems with technology or problems in class. You have to prepare your students for success. What I like to do is I like to send my parents or the students a list of procedures that prepares them for class. It gives them confidence to know exactly what to do before class starts. It could be how to set up a Zoom, or how to join the class, how to do the assessments, how to behave during class. It could be some simple rules. Now, I want to warn you not to create a sense of that these rules are very strict and that there are punishments. we should be more positive when working with special needs students. Listen, most of these kids, they get they get scolded all the time. They are so used to these negative punishments. So instead, have a welcoming, positive environment. Try, and even if they make a mistake, just ask them, "Oh, Johnny, I see you didn't do it. Let's try harder next time." And if they do that again, ask them, "Oh, can I please chat to you a little bit?" Have an individual feedback session. So rather be more positive with your students than negative. You will see that we need to treat them with love, especially in a time like this. Sometimes with the technical difficulties, tell them what to do if suddenly they get disconnected or they cannot join, if something happens. That way, that will give them more confidence. And this comes back to the environment we want to create with our students. We want to create a safe environment where they know what is expected of them, they know the consequences, they know how to deal with problems before they even happen. And that will build their confidence, and they will be far more likely to be able in class. Now, what I like to do is I use a flipped classroom model. Now, you all know what a flipped classroom model is. It's where in the past we used to send homework, we have class, and then we send homework with our students. Now, the flipped classroom is we prepare them for the class ahead. And this is perfect for online teaching. Why? Because your online class is not for them just to sit and write or sit and listen to your lecture. It is an opportunity for them to practice skills. So what I like to do is I like to take a quick video of myself for my students where I explain maybe some vocabulary that we're going to use, some grammar. I ask them to prepare something for class. You can they can prepare a toy, something red, find something to talk about if they are more advanced. It sets them up for success. And if they have something like that they can talk about, something in their hands, something physical, it makes it easy to ask questions. If they have their toy, it's like, "Oh, what is your toy?" "It's a bunny." "What color is he?" "Oh, he's gray." And it also shows the students that you are taking an interest in them, which is so important. It shows them what to expect. Okay, everyone, what is something that you think you can use in your class? What would you send your students before class starts to make sure that it's a successful class? Okay, if I forget something, please remind me. Now, maybe I've been talking for too long, and this happens in class. You go into class, you start talking, and you start noticing that the students are falling asleep or they're drifting away. What do? You need to wake them up. And to do that, you can play a fun, silly game. You can ask them to, quickly go and fetch something from your room, or find something red, find something round, find something cool. Then the students stand up, they go and get something. Now, this depends on if that's what your students would like. Otherwise, you can do some silly game like, I've got this game called Fish in the Water, Fish out of the water, fish in the water, fish out of the water. And I say this, and the students suddenly have to act along. And they act, fish in the water, fish out of the water, fish in the water, fish out of the water. And then I say, "Johnny, you take over." And he's like, "Fish in the water, fish out of the water." It's something simple, but it snaps them back. You can use things like this. You can say, "Does it fly? Does it fly a boat?" "No." "Does it fly a bat?" "Yes." So you re-engage your students. It's something I call energy management. You've got to control the energy in the classroom. Now, what I like to do, the structure in my classroom is, structure is vitally important, especially for our students, I feel like by giving them a routine, giving them structure, they feel more at ease and they know what will happen in class. And it's almost like giving a speech. If I gave you a speech and I said, "Okay, well, the speech will be 10 minutes, and if I just start a speech and I don't tell you anything about it, you would feel nervous and don't know where this is going. But if I say, "Guys, I'm doing a 10-minute speech. There will be 3 parts to it, that are 3 sections that I want to talk about. And at the end of the speech, you will learn about teaching online. Now, you feel at ease. You think, oh, there's a start point. There's going to be 3 sections. It's only going to be 10 minutes. And this is what I'm going to be learning. Now you feel engaged and you understand how it works. And it should be the same when you are teaching. You should have sections that the students can identify, and you should have certain ways to help them. So I like to have a warm-up game. Now, the warm-up game depends on your students' level. I can ask them to bring something to class. I can ask them, if they're older, I can put them into breakout rooms to discuss something. I can give them a list of questions. We can play a fun game, a board game. I'm going to be sharing some really great games with you that you can use in class. So just wait for the activities part. So that warm up is to get them going, to get their energy going. When the students come into class, I start asking them questions, and that is preparing them for the rest of the class. And with special needs students, we need to prime our students. So priming is you are preparing the students for answering questions. Now, they can get very anxious, a lot of these students. So by priming questions, you are getting them ready. So let's say with the warm-up, I'm asking them questions. I'm going to ask the most confident students the questions first, and I can prime the rest of the students and say, I will be asking you questions about your weekend or your favorite color. And now the students start thinking, oh, okay, I can prepare the question. Now, if I get to a student that isn't able to answer it, then I say, okay, I'll give you a chance. I'll go to your friend. What I like to do with all the students is you put them in pairs and they ask each other these questions. And instead of asking the student, what do you think? You ask your student, what did your partner say? Because they are far more likely to talk about their friend because the pressure is off of them. Okay, now back to the teaching. Now with the teaching, I'm constantly asking questions. I'm constantly looking for feedback. I'm pinging the students. And with video off, the students don't think that they can see me. I know where they are and I ask them questions. If a student is slow to answer, I will give them more time. Now, this is a big problem with online education. The biggest problem is that we were taught as teachers, when you're teaching in class, you're supposed to give your students at least 10 seconds to answer whatever you're asking them. Now, suddenly, when we're online, we ask a question and we expect that answer immediately. And that because we're nervous about, does the audio work? Can they hear me? And we should be giving them enough time to answer. If they, but I tell my students, I expect them to do a little bit faster, but it depends on the situation with your students. Okay, next. So teaching, I'm constantly asking them questions. If I'm sharing something, I'm asking the students to read. I'm asking them to practice something with a partner. I'm constantly checking on them. You have to lower your teacher talking time. You want them to speak most of the time, if it's possible, because we need to build their confidence. Now, if there are students with some disabilities that perhaps send the questions to them beforehand in chat. You can, when I told you about the pre-message, send some of the things they can prepare for that. Send them some vocabulary. Assist them. It's all about scaffolding the lesson to help the students succeed. And we need this, especially with our students that need extra help. Now, the practice part, this is where I get the students to practice. I put them into groups. If they're very young, I can do a board game with them. I will show you some sites where you can play board games. I've also got some PowerPoint games that I can play. Make it visual and then let them practice and check in on them. Now, before, a lot of teachers ask me about, okay, Eric, what about assessment? Now, it is important that we allow our students many different ways to show that they are capable. So I can ask my students to, if they work better with a friend. I know a lot of ADHD students, they work better with a friend, so I put them with a friend and let them do it together. I can also ask the students maybe to record it for me if they are too nervous, if they make a mistake. And one rule that we should apply is perhaps the second chance rule, where a lot of students, they get too nervous, too frustrated in the moment, where we calm them down and say, okay, listen, I'm going to give you a second chance, review, try again. I think it's so important. Now, when it comes to presenting, so during the practice phase, we're going to get the students to practice with each other, with you. You're going to review with them, and then you allow them an opportunity to present. It's maybe the classes are too big. You can't let everyone join or present. In that case, pick some students. What I like to do is, okay, everyone, quickly write your favorite character, your favorite cartoon character in the chat. The first 5 people don't have to present to class, and the students start writing. I share the screen. I say the first people to write their name on the whiteboard. Quickly, I see Super Mario, Mickey Mouse, Tom and Jerry. Oh, I love Snoopy. Right, I put these characters in there, and the students are very quick, and they feel, oh, you know what? This is a game. This is fun to be in class. And the students that lose, they realize, oh man, next time I will be better. And I want to get back to something else. Praise, 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 praise. When a student shows that they are trying, when the student is doing anything, you want to say, well done. So many times during my class, I constantly say, excellent, well done. I think that is good. You ask them follow-up questions to show that you are interested in them. And that's actually one of 3 things I wanted to talk about. Number 1, most important thing in class is engagement. Engaging your students, asking them questions, asking them to send messages, to use Zoom or use all these other functions that we have. The second one is connection. You are supposed to create relationships with your students. You're supposed to connect what you want them to learn to their previous knowledge, and you want to do it in a fun and engaging way. And that brings us to differentiation. Our special needs students are all over the place. You want to differentiate the content to be suitable for your students. You want to differentiate the way that they can show that they've achieved what you wanted. I like that. Giving intrinsic motivation. Jennifer, I could see that. Definitely. There is so many ways that we can help our students externally with grades. Maybe you can share some fun things with them, but the real way to help them is by forming a relationship and them enjoying trying their best, that internal motivation. I see that Mom Point is coming on. You guys are curious about that. Now, endgame. When the students present their knowledge, I'm going to listen for some mistakes that they make. I'm going to help them. I'm not going to single out the student. I'm going to say, okay, guys, this is some of the mistakes that I heard. This is something we can do. And then we have a fun end game. The end game is another chance for them to end on a high. I told you before about energy in the classroom. You start on a high, then you explain, you teach a little bit, and then the students practice with their partner, and then they relax and they can present what they know. And then you have that fun end game. And that leads us to reviewing. It's so important for students, special needs students, to review what they've learned, because many of them forget, what did I do in class? So I go over, I say, guys, this is what you learned today. You learned this vocabulary, you spoke about this. Remember, we played that game. Danny, you said that. And then the students are like, oh, you know what? That is something that we have to do. And I want to bring up another point. It's actually in the next one, working memory. I don't know if I removed it. Working memory is going down of students. Students have less working memory. What does that mean? Students are less capable of keeping one thought in their minds. Now, what I like to do with my students, we train their working memory. I tell them beforehand, I say, everyone, the secret word for today is quack, quack. And then during the class, if the students are busy with something, I can say, Jenny, what is the secret word? And while she's busy, she's like, oh, what? Quack, quack. And then the students are engaged in class. It helps them keep that in. Now, you can help them train it, make it longer. You can give them a phrase. You can tell them to keep some different things inside, but that is very important. Now, with the review, the students can reflect on what they have learned. You help them explain and you go over it again. And that leads me to the mom point. When I started this presentation, I told you the story of a mom sitting at home, going through a difficult time. Her son is on the computer doing a live class, and she doesn't know what's going on in his life. Now, a mom point is a short sentence explaining exactly what you did during that class. For example, today we spoke about weather. Today we talked about the past tense. And I tell my students that everyone repeat this mom point after me. And then afterwards, go to your mom and tell her that. Because not only is that child going to grow in confidence, the parents are going to have a positive a reaction to it. And the student is going to want to come back to class and learn more so that afterwards they can go back to the mom and say, listen, I did this again. They feel like they've achieved something. And it is up to us to cultivate this relationship with the parents and with the students. We're working together, and we want them to help them. So yeah, guys, I just want to say it's so important to do that. Now, during class, how is everyone doing? Is everybody happy? So what is the time where you are? I am actually in South Korea and it's 9:12 here. What is your time? Put it in the chat below. I just want to take this out. Have a nice day. It's a little cat there. Okay, I see a lot of times coming in. Okay, nice. In the Philippines and Malaysia. And the Philippines. I saw someone. Apa kabar? And hi, everyone. Okay, now, during class, be engaging. Now, the student comes to your class. If you are just sitting there, they are not going to be excited about class. They need to see you, your facial expressions. You need to be more engaging with them. Share your screen. Get them to write. Ask them questions. Use all the sentences. Get them to type in chat, to make movements, to chat to each other. We have breakout rooms that is amazing. You get to put the students into different groups, and that allows you as the teacher to go and help each one individually. And I want to bring up something else, and that is individual feedback sessions. You will have students that are more difficult than other ones. What you want to have, while the students are in breakout rooms, you can take a student out, put them in another group, and that's where you go and you chat to them. Johnny, how are you feeling today? How is the assessment? What did you have for breakfast? Did you have some cereal? Take an interest in your students, and breakout rooms allows you to give your students activities to keep them occupied while you can have these individual sessions with the students. I'm not saying do this the whole class long. I'm saying with these students that need extra attention, you give it to them and they're going to be better in class later. And then we're talking about engaging the students. You've got the whole library to use. You've got these exciting characters like SpongeBob. You've got visuals. Use things that the students are attracted to. And I will talk now about some activities that you can use. TPR. Total physical response. You will see me while I'm talking. I'm very engaging. I ask the students to do chants. One of the fun chants I like to do is the ABC chants. A is for apple. Apple. B is for ball. Ball. These kids are stuck in front of their computers the whole time. Get them to move around. If you like apples, go to the left. If you like bananas, go to the right. Stand up, sit down. Get them moving. You can use scavenger hunts that I talked about before. Simon Says. Simon Says is one of the classic tools that we can use, and you can use it in a variety of ways. You can say, Simon Says, touch your nose, touch your ear. You are out. Okay. Everyone stand up for me. If you're out, you have to sit down. And Simon Says you can have different levels. You can say, Simon Says, moo like a cow. Simon Says, paint the wall. There are so many ways, creative ways that you can use, Simon says, to engage the students in class and to make them smile. Show and tell. Get the students to share things about their lives. Listen, these kids are missing social interaction with each other. It is up to us as teachers to connect them and to get them to share things about their lives. So important. I'm going to show you some fun activities now. I talked about working memory. Now, let me quickly stop here. Oh, there we go. You guys can see my couch. I usually do a live stream every Sunday, but I have to say I'm having so much fun. Thank you everyone for being here. Now, some great you're here for practical tools. I want to share some of the things, some of the 2 websites that I like to use. Let me quickly go back here to, this is just normal sharing. Now, I put these on my website, but it's called Bamboozle. If you guys haven't heard of it yet, it's called Bamboozle. It's a fantastic site. I hope everyone can read. Can everyone see? Now, in Bamboozle, it allows you to create a grid like this, a game that they can use. It's very simple. You share it in class, and then you ask the students, you can put them into teams. You can ask each student to do that. And here are some fun games that you can use. Simon says, where they play and they have to do something. Run around the house. They have to find something fluffy, find something like this. Categories. They have to write down some categories on their pen and paper and then put it out. Let's move. Let me show you this let's move, for example. I'm going to open this up. This is one of the examples. You go here to play. You say, just classic, we'll use it like this. This is what it looks like. I'm going to say, Janet, you said thank you there. Janet, pick a number. Okay, everyone, quickly put a number in the chat. The first number that I see will get a chance. Oh, I saw a 7. Who was that? Someone was very quick. Brigida was there. Robert was there. Shireen, it's 7. Deepanjali, you were first. 7. Oh, you win 15 points. And the next one, 11. Do the chicken dance. Well done. Good chicken. Okay, so this is a fantastic website that you can use. A few other websites. I think another one is, what is its name again? I just saw it here. Give me 1 second. I'm starting to forget some things now. Yeah, like WordWall is good. PowerPoints. I have a list of PowerPoint bomb games that I use with my students that use characters like Pokemon or Naruto, things that you think the students will enjoy. Add them to enhance their experience. Now, I want to show you one great thing. Now, one of the greatest problems that we don't know exist with our ADHD students is that 80%, or I think I read that it was 80% of them actually struggle with self-esteem. We think just because they are loud, just because they're fidgety, just because they're moving around, just because they crave attention, we don't know that they have problems with self-esteem. And it is up to us to build the self-esteem and the confidence of our students. And one such activity that you probably know about is called, where are you? I want to find you. Let me quickly open it up. This one. Okay, let me quickly open it up. It's called Free Rice. I don't know if you guys know about it. Just in case you don't know, Free Rice is an educational trivia game that helps people around the world. It's made by the World Food Program, and you go in, you pick a category. Let's say I want to learn spelling. Let's say I think there was grammar before. So you go in here, let's say English grammar. I click on that, and now the students, you can create a group for the students to use, and the students can. You can put your class in a group, and every time, which is correct, he left it over there, he left it over there. I think this is correct. Now what you can see is it added 10 grains of rice. Every answer they give correct adds 10, pays money into the World Food Program's account, and it is shown in 10 grains of rice. Now, this is so good for students. If you tell them, listen, guys, after class, you can go and play some of these games, and you get groups and you can challenge each other. The students get a sense of accomplishment. Afterwards, send your students' parents a letter. You know what Jimmy did so well? Did you know that he helped make 20 bowls of rice to a family in need? For example, you can go, let's say something interesting here. If you don't know it, let's say countries of the world. This country is, okay, I hope I get this right. Ooh, it's my, okay, this is South Korea. Nice. I just sent, and then this is just such a great way for the students to engage them and also to build their self-esteem. So everyone, are you enjoying this? I'm having a lot of fun. Let me quickly continue. I'm almost finished with this, and then we will move to asking questions. How much time do I have left? I feel like
Eric, you could take 5 to 7 minutes more. And
5 to 7 minutes. Let's make it 5 to 7 excellent minutes. Guys, have you had fun so far? I had a great time. I feel like I made so many notes and things I wanted to talk about, and I was so nervous about getting to all of them. I hope that I helped you a little bit. I think I got some of them, most of them, I hope. Okay, let's quickly go through to the end. Where was I? Okay, yeah, there are some other activities. Bingo. Scribble is a fantastic site that you can use for the students to play some drawing games with each other. It says like hat, and the student has to draw a hat, and everybody gets. You can use categories, charades, so many fun activities to engage our students. Now, when we review, I told you before, you want to make sure that the students know they remember everything that they've done. You can do an exit ticket. I ask the students I ask each student a question, and they feel like if they can answer it correctly, they can leave. But that's such a good point. And then mom point. In conclusion, before we get to the questions, online teaching is not more difficult. It isn't hard for us. It is just different. It is up to us to learn new ways to engage with our students and to assist them, whatever their needs are. You know, all students are special needs students. It's just a matter of finding ways to reach them. And, you know, we want to create a positive environment. We want to create a place where the students can feel safe and engage with what we're trying to teach them. And, you know, we should be mindful of the effect that we have on our students. You know, like I said before, we don't know what's going on in their lives. It's up to us as teachers to be a positive, a shining light in their lives. You know, we don't know it, but that student might go out and say, listen, my day is a little bit better. I feel listened to. I feel cared for. And I just wanted to say thank you to all of you out here that are trying to learn some tips. And I hope you learned something in the chat. What is something that you learned? What is something that you will take away from this? Remember, guys, we're learning new techniques. We should be lifelong learners, and we will take these skills with us into the future. Now, I think let's get to some of the questions. I haven't prepared as much for these questions, so I'm just going to try and answer them off the bat. I hope that I can give some good ideas for that. Guys, if you have any final questions, put them in the chat. And then, yeah, let's get into it. What are some chats we've got? What are some questions?
Amazing session, Eric. Thank you so much. Before I proceed and ask some of the questions that we have already received, I would just quickly take a minute to remind our attendees that if they wish to register for the next webinar from Ability, which would be on the topic Oral Health for Children with Special Needs, they could find the link in the chat box to register for the webinar. Also, the ongoing series on the behavior learning path, the third workshop called Behavior Management and Modification, is also scheduled on 24th of August. If you wish to register, find the link in the chat box. And now, also, we have a handbook which covers the topic of how to manage online sessions for children with special needs, very much relevant to today's session. The link to this resource and the handbook is also being shared in the chat box. Now, let us quickly proceed to the questions that we have received. The first question, which has been very common and a lot of people have asked us, including Saranya, Maria, multiple others. Children with special needs have difficulty in processing information. So, what are some of those things we need to keep in mind as educators while teaching children with special needs? That's the first question for you, Eric.
Okay. Well, I think I said it before. We prepare for them for success. So we've got to send them. We've got to help them by sending them the information in different ways. We can send them whatever they need to know before class, during class. We remember each student is different, so we've got to allow them to express themselves differently. So have different ways for them to access the information and to practice their skills. It could be by writing things down. It could be with a partner. It could be in a recorded format. I think a lot of you might know, what is it? Flipgrid, or Flipgrid. There we go. Flipgrid is a way for the students to record themselves. And if they make a mistake, it allows them to re-record themselves. And that might be a good tool too. And remember, we take to things that are interesting to us. We want the students to enjoy the class, so we need to focus whatever we're teaching them on the students. What is important to them? What is something that is happening in their lives? What are their interests? What are their likes? And also apply it to their emotions. Look, it's all about creating connections, and you want to create as many connections as possible with your students. So that's some of the ideas I have for that.
Great. I would quickly move to the next question because I want to take as many questions as possible in the limited time that we have. The next one is from Rachel. Rachel is asking us how to evaluate a student's performance online, especially children with special needs, and if there are any specific criteria that she can look for.
Okay, so I think assessment is such a big thing. We think, how are we going to assess our students? The thing is, we need to we need to provide our students with options. We shouldn't just say, listen, do it this way. If you don't do it this way, it's wrong. We should say, this is our goal. This is the criteria we want to meet. Now, criteria can change depending on what you want to achieve with your lesson, but we need to allow our students options on how to achieve it. That will also give them a sense of ownership over the assessment by saying, okay, well, listen, I want to do it this way. That will help me. Okay, guys, who wants to do it in a group? Who wants to do a role play? Who wants to make flashcards and explain it to us? And I think with special needs students also, try and make it something physical, something that they can work towards. In the past, I have said that, students should make something that they can show, or they can feedback off a friend where they get so nervous or it's difficult for them to do on their own. Have some tools to help them. Criteria, that depends on what you want to achieve with the lesson. I can't think of any criteria I would specifically call out.
Sure. Let's move to the next one from Gitanjali. Gitanjali is asking, mostly children with ADHD find it difficult to wait for their turns and answer when an online session is going on. So such children keep unmuting themselves or keep shouting while the session is going on. So what can be done to encourage the habit of turn taking or the skills of turn taking in such children?
Okay, I think you are going to have those outspoken students. Those students just can't wait to share something. Well, first off, you want to make sure that all the students get an opportunity to share. I've got a list of my students' names, and I make sure I ask each student a question. The worst feeling is if a student comes to class and they don't have a chance to speak up or share something about their lives. So it's incredibly important to make sure you as the teacher give each student an opportunity to talk about it. Now, you can use some rewards for saying, okay, well, you know what, if if you give a chance to your friend, if you are polite in class, you can have a board where there are certain criteria that they get rewards for. Another site that many people use is Class Dojo, where you are also able to give your students awards, maybe for politeness and things like that. What I would do in class is with these students, or perhaps, you just have a board and you just make, if a student goes out of turn, you can make a note or and if there are 3 stripes, then you say, okay, let's chat about it after class, and you just chat to them about it. That's a physical reminder for them to give a chance to their partners. Now, one of the rules I have in my class is that we should give everyone a chance to speak, but we don't want to reinforce negative rules. We want to make it positive. So rather than coming out and saying, you made a mistake for shouting out or unmuting yourself, you want to say, oh, well done, Jimmy. Today you didn't interrupt anyone, but you gave your opinion. And I'm so happy that's +1 to you. Thank you so much. So we are training our students to be more polite in class. That being said, I know some students are difficult. I think it might be a small concession, but maybe ask those students a question first and then work through it. And I like to put my students in pairs too, where they share something about their friend, and that will make them feel more included too, if that helps.
Well, I am pretty sure, Eric, that would help a lot of educators who are watching us live today. Okay, moving on to the next one, which is from Bijwa and Nerissa. Both of them have asked a similar question, saying that children tend to engage in behaviors like gaming or surfing while attending online classes, thanks to the access of gadgets, multiple gadgets that they have. So what can be done to manage such behaviors?
I forgot one thing that I wanted to share. There is something like, there are some tools earlier. I've got a tool that I found that is a randomizer, and that means that the students randomly get picked. That's something that you can use too. That takes pressure off of you as the teacher, and it's random. Now, attention. I said that one of the most important things for online teaching is engaging our students. That means that we've got to have an engaging class. We've got to be engaging with our students. We've got to make it about them. During my class, I'm constantly asking my students questions. If they are slow to react, if there is a mistake, I say, oh, okay, I'm just making a note of that. Maybe I make a stripe on the board. I write it down. I say, okay, well, let's continue. I will give you some time. If it continues, then I will say, Jimmy, I see that you missed answering. Is everything okay there? Are you focused? What are we doing? Okay, please get back on task. If he does it 1, 2, or 3 times, I say, Jimmy, I want to speak to you after class, please. That shows the rest of the class that they are held accountable for their actions. But listen, the main thing is the students should enjoy your class. You shouldn't be lecturing them. I don't even see my students in my classes, but if I ask a question, they should be on point because I want to make it fun. I want to make it engaging, and they should want to share their experience. So make it about the students or their interest or things that they feel will definitely help them in the future. And that's why I said that we should let our students share what they're doing in class with their parents, with their peer groups, because then they feel that whatever they're learning has meaning. If I didn't provide value to my students and they wanted to play games, I have failed. And I need to improve and do better, and I'll find some new ways to do it. It's not a negative about me. It's just, as educators, you guys are here to learn new skills, and that's why I'm applauding you. I think it's amazing. And I will find different ways to reach those students too.
Great. That's really interesting and very helpful at the same time, Eric. Since we are running short of time, I would be taking 2 last questions for today. The second last question is, aside from verbal praising, like you already mentioned, what other positive forms of encouragement can the educator use so that the student remain interested in continuing to attend the session?
That's a very good question. Yeah, okay. So verbal encouragement, and then I talked about before, like external rewards, like Class Dojo, you can give them small rewards. There are some tools that you can use for that. But it should be internal. So you can do it verbally. You can send them nice messages afterwards, praise them. I see someone just put it in there. I would also, encourage connection with parents, to tell them about it. And then also, perhaps you tell the students that at the end of class, there will be a fun reveal, or it will be a special question. You've got to find ways to keep the students active and focused. Verbal praise, messages, rewards on the outside, and you can have some fun way to reward them. Like before I showed that food rice, I can say, okay, everyone, the last 2 minutes or 3 minutes of class, I want you to, or 5 minutes of class, go on, play that game. Or, you can do things in class to encourage them too, if that helps.
Wow. Interesting suggestions, Eric. Thank you so much.
Virtual stickers. Yeah, I see someone said they're virtual stickers. Yeah, great idea. That's something I was thinking about. We can make these. I know a friend of mine has these, this collection of characters that she has, and then she shows it to the students, and then she just sends a virtual sticker. And I think that's a great idea.
Awesome. So there are some stickers facility that even Zoom offers. So interesting concept and idea. Finally, the last question for today that we have, you mentioned about it is up to the educator whether they want to keep the child's video on or off, or how it is more convenient for them. So a few of the educators present here are asking us, how do we ensure the presence of a special needs child if the video is turned off? How do we make sure that
like
the child
I said,
is listening?
I'm constantly asking them questions. I'm asking them to write down answers. I'm asking them to put things up. Also, you find this with putting them into breakout rooms where you can view each group even. And what I like to do is I join each group, and there's an option. If you go to view, you go and you join each group, you ask them some questions, and then you disappear. And the students don't see you, so you are able to view them and see what they're actually doing. So you can learn a little bit about that, and then when you get back to class, you're like, okay, guys, or you can surprise them. Now, when they're away, if their video is off, they've got to be engaged. You're going to ask them questions. You're going to ask them to repeat things back to you. You can say, Jimmy just talked about his squirrel, just said something. What is Jimmy's favorite animal? He just said it. So you've got to engage them. You've got to consistently keep them on their toes. With online, we've got audio. We can ask them questions. If you are unsure, you can ask them to switch it on. I've never had to do that with my students unless it's to do assessment. I can ask them to write things down. I can ask them to do emojis. And then if a student is late or they don't do it, then I'm going to go, okay, that student, Jimmy, why are you so late? Where's your emoticon? Is everything okay? Okay. Listen, remember, I want you to focus. Listen, this is part of teaching. We've got to, that mom comes out where we kind of lecture them and we just say, listen, I want you to do it this way, but in a sweet way. But if it continues, then you'll say, oh, let's talk about it after class. You know what? I need you to, so come from a good place when you interact with your students and when they do make, transgress and do that.
Sure. That's really interesting. And this was overall a very engaging session, Eric. I hope the educators, teachers, and therapists who are watching this live are able to take something from today's session, and they would be able to make their classes or sessions as engaging as this webinar was, because I thoroughly enjoyed the experience being a student today. Thank you so much for such an interesting session. I would like to once again remind the attendees that if you wish to register for the next workshop or webinar from Ability, please find the link in the chat box. Also, if you wish to enroll for the certificate training program on managing special needs, please do enroll for the program. If you are already an existing premium member, you will have free access to the program and you would be able to attend the workshops within the program. Thank you so much, Eric. How was your experience conducting today's session?
Thank you, Swati. I was so nervous coming into this because there was so much I wanted to share, and I was afraid to miss that. So I just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone joining. You were incredible. I'm just so grateful to everyone being here. I had an amazing time. I usually do live streams on my channel called Educator or Educate Backwards. And yeah, guys, listen, you are here for the students. They rely on you, and I'm just so proud of everyone being here and doing your best for that. If you wanted some of these activities or some more ideas, you can check out my channel Educate or my website Teach. It's just some ideas and things if you wanted to try it. That's my promo. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot, Eric. That brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you, everyone, for being a fantastic audience and for being so engaged, for conducting such engaging conversations via the chat box. Thank you, everyone.